Hello everyone, welcome to Kansas Future. Do you feel like this close win against the Panthers is a cause for concern? It does concern me because, 8 of their wins this season have been by one score. You just look at things like that and it makes you wonder. Help me out here, guys. Here's how I see it. When you're a champion, everyone is coming after you. But champions, especially great ones like Patrick Mahomes, have a way of humbling you. That said, if teams keep knocking on the door over and over again, and it's always just one play here or there that makes the difference, it starts to elevate the competition's confidence. They begin to think, we have a shot. They know they have to play better than normal and can't afford to make mistakes because they're up against a champion. But when it's that tight every week, eventually, you start to feel like they can't keep living on the edge. Something has to give. The only reason I feel slightly different about the Kansas City Chiefs is that certain players, like Travis Kelce, are bound to bounce back. You know Kelce is going to show up when it counts. The team might get healthier in key positions, and that's one reason not to worry. But as they're presently constructed, if teams like the Panthers can push them to the edge, other NFL teams are going to look at that and say, we can take these guys. When it comes to Kansas City, it's becoming harder and harder for them to protect Patrick Mahomes. That's a big issue. For example, they went 8 for 13 on third downs in this game, which is impressive, but Patrick Mahomes was still under a lot of pressure. He had a clean game, 3 touchdowns and no turnovers, but the offensive line is struggling. In the red zone, they're settling for field goals instead of scoring touchdowns. Over the past 2 weeks, the defense hasn't been as dominant as it was earlier in the season, and teams are getting closer and closer. If the defense keeps faltering and Patrick Mahomes has an off game, the Chiefs could find themselves going home early. That's the beauty of football. Those small margins can change everything. Plays they used to get or penalties they used to avoid aren't breaking their way. It's a cause for concern. Now the Chiefs are focused on the big picture, securing the number 1 seed and a first-round bye. They'll do whatever it takes, even if that means relying on field goals or miraculous plays like Mahomes' 33-yard scramble. But there's a glaring weakness on the offensive line, particularly at the tackle positions. Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, and Joe Thuney are solid on the interior, but the tackles are a liability. 5 sacks in a game are unacceptable and could be the difference between winning and losing, especially in the playoffs. Opponents are coming into games against the Chiefs believing they can win. That belief is dangerous, but when there are 2 minutes left and the game is close, that fear creeps in because Patrick Mahomes is on the other side. And more often than not, Mahomes and the Chiefs find a way to win. He said it best after the game, though. You'd like to win a certain way, but these guys are battle-hardened. You can't doubt them. That said, what happens when it's not the Chiefs with the ball in the final 2 minutes? Their defense has given up more than 330 yards in each of the last 2 games, which is unusual for a unit that's been so reliable this season. Earlier this year, we praised Steve Spagnuolo's defense for carrying the team while the offense struggled. But that's not the case now. Against the Panthers, they pressured Bryce Young on only 7 of his 35 pass attempts, a pressure rate of just 27%. If they can't get to the quarterback or tighten up defensively, it could spell trouble down the stretch. When you see the Chiefs giving up more yards and points than usual, combined with an offense that isn't what it once was, it does make you stop and think. Something feels a bit different, and it contributes to the notion that they're not as invincible as they once seemed. This is where great teams have to focus on problem solving during the season. Offensively, what adjustments will they make at the tackle positions? I believe they signed Humphreys last week, but is that enough? Defensively, do you trust the coaches and the players to adapt? The best teams identify and address these dips in performance while still managing to win games, which is a good sign overall. Patrick Mahomes mentioned this himself, acknowledging the issues despite the wins. Players like Trent McDuffie and Chris Jones have been pivotal, but Jones getting run through on the goal line, possibly by Chuba Hubbard, for a touchdown was shocking. That simply shouldn't happen and is something Kansas City needs to fix moving forward. NFC North performance. As for the NFC North, the standout win for me has to be the Minnesota Vikings. I've been skeptical of Sam Darnold all year, expecting the old version of him, the one prone to bad decisions, turnovers, and mistakes, to reappear. Has there been some of that? Sure, but not enough to overshadow his growth. This is now a 9-win team, and Darnold has hit a career high in touchdown passes. That overtime drive against Chicago, where he held onto the ball under pressure and still delivered downfield, showed resilience. It's taken 12 or 13 weeks, but I'm finally becoming a Sam Darnold believer. Credit goes to Kevin O'Connell for building that quarterback-coach relationship, which is clearly paying dividends. Pair that with the Vikings' improving defense, and they're a legitimate threat. In a one-game scenario, such as a wild card or divisional matchup, I believe they could compete with a team like the Detroit Lions. Even with the Bears doing an excellent job of limiting Justin Jefferson, Darnold found production elsewhere. Addison stepped up with 8 catches for 162 yards and a touchdown, while TJ Hawkinson added 7 catches for 114 yards. When Jefferson was taken out of the equation, Darnold trusted his other options and didn't force plays, a sign of maturity. Shannon Sharp made a great point. Darnold must feel relieved to no longer be with the Jets. He's already matched his career wins in a single season with the Vikings. Divisional games are always tough, especially on the road, but Darnold and the Vikings delivered. This win was impressive, even if it came against Chicago. The case for Detroit. That said, I have to go with the Detroit Lions as the most impressive NFC North team this week. Week after week, people are waiting for the Lions to falter, expecting their momentum to drop off even slightly. Instead, they just keep getting better. They've shown resilience, adaptability, and consistency, making them a real contender as the season progresses. When I look at the Detroit Lions, it doesn't matter who they're facing, what the situation is, or what the circumstances are, they just keep moving forward. They're not messing around. This team is playing like they believe they should have been in the Super Bowl last year. They don't think San Francisco beat them, they think they blew it themselves, and they're playing with a determination to prove that to everyone. It's like they're on a mission, showing us they're not going to let that happen again. The Lions are treating subpar teams like subpar teams, showing them there are levels to this game. That's the energy I'm getting from Detroit that I'm not feeling from most other teams in the league. Chiefs news and updates, your go-to spot for all things Kansas City Chiefs. Today, we're diving into some exciting roster updates, including the return of a name you might have forgotten. Rookie tight end Baylor Cupp is back on the practice squad. Could he be a hidden gem in the making? What does his return mean for the Chiefs' future at tight end? Stay tuned as we break it all down. But first, here's a quick question for you. Do you think Baylor Cupp has what it takes to develop into a key player for the Chiefs? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's get the conversation started. Latest roster moves. It was a busy Tuesday in Kansas City. First, the Chiefs added kicker Matt Wright to the practice squad to bolster depth. But the headline move was the return of Baylor Cupp. After spending weeks on the injured reserve list, the undrafted rookie tight end is ready to get back to work. In other moves, tight end Peyton Hendershot was placed on injured reserve, and defensive end Cameron Thomas was waived. Additionally, the Chiefs released offensive tackle Lucas Niang and defensive end Truman Jones from the practice squad. Chiefs Kingdom, what do you think about these moves? Are you excited about Cupp's return, or do the departures raise concerns? Let us know in the comments. Who is Baylor Cupp? For those who need a refresher, Baylor Cupp joined the Chiefs as an undrafted rookie this past offseason. He turned heads during training camp and preseason, catching all 3 of his targets for 25 yards and a touchdown. Unfortunately, his momentum was cut short when he landed on the practice squad injured reserve list before Week 5. The timing couldn't have been worse for his development, but now that he's healthy, the Chiefs coaching staff has another chance to work with this promising prospect. Cupp's college career at Texas Tech was underwhelming, just 23 catches for 246 yards and 4 touchdowns over 3 years. However, the Chiefs have a history of turning raw talent into key contributors. Think about Noah Gray. He wasn't a household name when he joined, but now he's a reliable part of the team. Could Baylor Cupp follow a similar path? The importance of depth. Tight ends are a cornerstone of the Chiefs' offense, and no one embodies that more than Travis Kelce. But let's face it, Kelce isn't going to play forever. That's why developing players like Cupp is crucial for long-term success. While Cupp's journey might not mirror Kelce's Hall of Fame career, having depth and potential at the position is vital. Who do you see as Kelce's long-term successor? Is it Noah Gray, Baylor Cupp, or someone we haven't seen yet? Share your thoughts in the comments, and while you're there, let us know your favorite Travis Kelce moment, because we can never talk enough about the legend himself. What's next for Baylor Cupp? Now that Cupp is back, the focus shifts to his development. He's unlikely to see the field this season unless injuries pile up, but his time on the practice squad is invaluable. The Chiefs' coaching staff excels at turning potential into performance. If Kupp can improve his route running, blocking, and understanding of the playbook, he could make a legitimate push for a roster spot next season. With Kelsey as a mentor and Andy Reid's offensive mind guiding him, the sky's the limit. Let me paint a picture for you. A team with championship aspirations facing an opponent they were expected to steamroll. Yet here they are, battling the unthinkable, a game that could have been a statement victory devolving into a nail-biting thriller. The supposed underdog, a team everyone thought would crumble under pressure, puts up a fight that makes you question everything. At the center of it all is one man whose every move determines the outcome, a master of composure, a commander under fire, turning chaos into opportunity. This isn't just about football, it's about willpower, grit, and an unrelenting drive to avoid defeat. But here's the real question. Is this just a storm the Chiefs survived, or is it a glimpse into a larger problem? Stick with me as we break down what went down and why what comes next might surprise you. The scene at Bank of America Stadium. On paper, this game should have been a cakewalk for the Chiefs. They headed into halftime with a 29 lead, Patrick Mahomes doing what he does best, orchestrating the offense, finding his rhythm, and leading the charge. The Panthers, a team that has struggled all season, were expected to be nothing more than a speed bump on Kansas City's path to another dominant victory. But sports rarely follow the scripts we write. The second half was a completely different story. The Chiefs, dominant in the first half, hit a wall. They scored 0 points in the third quarter, nothing. Meanwhile, the Panthers clawed their way back into the game, tying it up at 27-27. What should have been a routine win for the Chiefs turned into a crisis. The Panthers, fueled by heart and determination, made up for their lack of talent with pure grit. And then there was Mahomes. With less than 2 minutes on the clock, all eyes were on him. This wasn't just another drive, it was a mission. Overtime loomed like a dark cloud, and Mahomes had to get it right. Calm under pressure, Mahomes did what only a few quarterbacks in the league can. He took charge, leading the Chiefs on an 8-play, 57-yard drive. The defining moment, the highlight, a jaw-dropping 33-yard scramble by Mahomes. It wasn't just athleticism, it was a statement. The Panthers expected man coverage, but Mahomes read the defense perfectly, realizing they were in match zone. With routes covered, he improvised. Instead of rushing out of bounds, he stayed aggressive, cutting through defenders and securing the crucial yards. A key block from Justin Watson sealed the play, and just like that, the Chiefs were in field goal range. This wasn't just football IQ, it was brilliance under pressure. Mahomes wasn't thinking about stats or the highlight reel. He was thinking several moves ahead, ensuring his team had a chance at victory. What do you think, Chiefs Kingdom? But if they don't, if they let this opportunity slip through their fingers, they'll have no one to blame but themselves. And guys, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment. See you in the next video.